So we're joined now by our beast of the week. You know her as the co-host of Morning Joe on MSNBC, where her fresh political takes wake you up faster than that first cup of coffee. Mika Brzezinski. Mika, who is anything but meek, is a fierce advocate for women's empowerment, a best-selling author, and the visionary behind the Know Your Value initiative. She's also a friend of mine and someone I've known for many years. We worked together at Cosmo when Mika had a very influential column. And Mika, you normally cover the news, but this week you became the news after your trip to Mar-a-Lago. Tell us about that.
Well, we told our viewers about it. I don't have much to say beyond that, except that in these fraught times, I do think that we are in an environment, no matter how it started, where everyone's talking at each other, at cameras, on their typewriters. That's how old I am. I say typewriter, but you know what I mean, using their keyboards, talking at each other. And I do believe, and this doesn't just apply to Donald Trump, it applies to anybody in his administration, any Republican, that it's time to start talking face to face, on the record, on background, reconnecting. And it doesn't have to be easy. It doesn't have to be fun. It's not supposed to be. It's our job. So for us, it absolutely felt like the right thing to do because it is our job. And I've actually been really surprised at the reaction. I've heard from a lot of people in my phone, people that I respect a great deal, leaders, people I don't usually hear from who are really powerful, who just wanted to let me know that that was the right thing to do. And then I have seen, just like the very opposite happening online. Some of it is part of the problem I'm talking about right now. I've heard from reporters by reading about myself, and none of them ever called me. That's a problem. So in part, it is a way of trying to do things differently, and this is a very serious time, and I take what we did, when we did it, how we did it, why we did it, very seriously.
Actually, I was really surprised also by the blowback. Is it possible, because I do personally seek some just kind of like details about what it was like being there? Like, what did you do the outreach? Did he do the outreach? Like, how did it start? Or when did you even begin considering?
I'd call it a combined effort because a lot of this was on background. I hope that we have more conversations. I hope we do an interview. So I want to, stick to the guidelines that we put in place, myself, for the interview. I talked to a reporter last night. She was very, very upset that I did this meeting. And I said, well, wouldn't you? I mean, you work for a extremely powerful, credible publication. And she said, well, I would only go in there if there were certain guardrails put in place. There were certain agreed upon boundaries. Right. And I thought to myself, well, how do you know anything about that in terms of I've done my best to be as transparent as possible in light of the fact that I had a meeting on background, which this person as a reporter would know exactly what that's about. I've been surprised at the backlash. And the way I look at it is people are really scared. It's one of the reasons we went in there is people are really scared about Donald Trump's comments about political adversaries. A lot of people are scared because of what has happened with abortion. These are all issues that are important to me and in some ways personal to me, but definitely personal to the people I really care about.
Because he's been so personally toxic. He's been so personally insulting to you. And to Joe Scarborough. Like, what are the guidelines that you set for yourself?
Well, I mean, it's my job to interview and talk to people I disagree with, feel threatened by, or who have hurt my feelings in some way. So there's how I do it. I do my job. I mean, do I really not go in there because he tweeted about me bleeding badly from a facelift at Mar-a-Lago, I don't know, 8-9 years ago? I mean, we haven't talked in 7 years. And I will say that's a problem too. So I'm worried about myself and how I conduct myself in this media universe that we're in, taking stock of everything that's happened. I don't regret anything I've said during the campaign, and I stand by it. But I'm also looking at how to do things differently. And I would never turn down an opportunity to gain insider information. Never.
Right.
So how I handle mean tweets or
Right.
the personal stuff is that's just not something I'm supposed to worry about. That's my job. If I let that get in the way of me doing my job, I don't think my viewers would appreciate that.
Mika, to what extent is so much of this also performative? Because Donald Trump is first and foremost an entertainer. He's a performer. He knows his audience. I've never met him. When you had your conversations with him, is he much milder in person? I find it very difficult to know what he's like, because people say he's very funny, he's very charming. Clearly half the country voted for him.
So you've seen him on our show, Joanna. You have seen Joe hang up on him.
Right.
You have seen big fights and also nice conversations in the very beginning or when he was the host of The Apprentice. And I would say that he's often very much the same off the air as he is on the air, a lot of different things at once. And that doesn't change his policies, the things that he wants to do in this next presidency, and what he did in his first presidency. And my biggest issue is the overturning of Roe, of course.
Right.
And so, of course, there
and
were
the
tough
coarsening
moments.
of the language, the coursening
Yeah.
of the political debate, all of which
all
I
those
think
things
is
true.
Tell us, was Elon Musk there when you were there?
No, it's very private.
Well, I guess when you say, because I'm not sure that everybody who's listening to you or watching this interview knows exactly what it means when you say that you were there on background. So does that mean for our listening audience that you cannot talk about just the setting, like you can't set a scene, or what does that mean?
I mean, I don't want to make this about me, I guess, is when you sort of ask me about the setting and this and that, I can answer, but it's just not about me. It's not about me.
Is it about Mar-a-Lago? Because I've not been there. I'd kill to go, and I would have come with my suitcase, Mika, alongside if you needed a researcher.
Joanna wants to know what room you were in.
See, this is what I love, because talking to Joanna, first of all, she was a political reporter. So she knows exactly what we were doing and there's no illusions to her. And she would, I think, support any of her reporters going to interview a range of people, whether it be dictators, tyrants, or Republicans or Democrats that we disagree with, or the next president of the United States. You would not only support that happening, you would not require that they report to you immediately before. You require they do their job and do these meetings. And you require that when something is done on background, that you don't then run around talking about it. So I'm sharing as much as I can. I'm also not trying to be dishonest or cagey, because Joanna, you understand what reporters do. And every reporter who is watching this, who's then tweeting mean things and writing articles and quoting unnamed sources instead of calling me, that's the part that I will say, I'm not naive, but I am surprised. And I do think I have a reason for this.
Yeah, no, a job of journalists is to shed a light on something which is slightly hidden. And what's going on at Mar-a-Lago feels slightly hidden, although Trump is a very good communicator in terms of who he's putting in positions and things. I was surprised by the blowback you got too, actually.
I was trying to think through it, and I just think everyone is so scared. People, whether they're in the media or they are citizens of this great country, I think everybody is feeling scared, disoriented, fearful of the future. And I think I think just for a quick moment, I might be like the punching bag for that. But I'd like to believe we're going to get through this. I have a lot of questions too, though. And I want the chance to ask them.
It's so hard to imagine that it hasn't even begun yet. Like, he's not the president yet.
No.
And this is where we are.
Did the visit make you feel more hopeful?
No, I would have no illusions about that. I'm glad it happened. The fact that it happened is good. I will leave that there.
Well, Joe reported that Trump seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. Are you able to say which issues?
Well, you know the one I brought up. So I am deeply, deeply upset and fearful for the women of this country. And not just women of childbearing age, but for my daughters, for us, for anybody who might need to go to the hospital and get life-saving health care that is not available in some states because of the overturning of Roe, because of that. I'm going to be looking for ways to work on this issue. And even within the current horrible situation that we find ourselves in, for looking for common ground to try and get, in some states, these bans at least raised to later term, you have to work with the hand you've been dealt. And in this case, it's so interesting. Donald Trump won the election, but in many states, abortion rights won. And so within there's something that can be done. And to your point, I think there is room for movement.
I'm going to actually take that on board, that you just said that you have to play the hand you've been dealt, because this was quite a hand that we have been dealt.
This is it. This is where we are.
I feel like if you could move his opinion like a millimeter in the direction of protecting women, I am all for it. I don't know that is possible. I don't know that anything is possible.
But
really
I'm going to
don't.
try. I'm going to try.
But,
if I go back, if I have another, I will take every opportunity.
Right. Oh boy.
Well, your father was a diplomat too, Mika, so perhaps talking to people is in your DNA.
Yeah, my dad took me, you guys, I've never told this, I don't think, when I was 15. So he was just out of the White House. He was National Security Advisor.
To Jimmy Carter, right?
Yeah. I went on a secret meeting with my dad to Tunisia with Yasser Arafat. And we
Wow.
were taken in a car, no idea where we were going. And during the meeting, we were surrounded by, I'm going to say, probably 20 armed with like machine guns, guards. And we had that meeting surrounded by men in guns, with guns. And I was his note taker. I was like, what are you doing? This is some kind of parenting. But my point was that I've been in way more kind of in terms of physically challenging situations. This was a meeting, a meeting that I knew was going to be, I knew people were going to be, we told our viewers on Thursday before the Friday meeting that, the nominations so far, some of them are deeply disturbing, and that we look forward to talking to Donald Trump face to face about this. And then we got the opportunity, so we went.
Were you able to tell him that you felt the nominations, some of them were completely
We
inappropriate?
talked about a number of key issues that are really important to us. So you can imagine that the nominations, abortion. Yeah. If you watch our show, then you know what we talked to him about. And I think we're going to talk again. And I hope that we do. Some people really disagree with this, and I don't. I regret talking about people and not to them. And I've been making a lot of phone calls over the past few weeks, not just because of this, but in general, just looking at where we are, looking at the media universe, and looking at how many unnamed sources are put in articles when you know that person could have just called that person. Like, we know each other. Joanna and I were talking yesterday, and we were talking about some of the coverage in the Daily Beast, some of the coverage elsewhere, and we talk to each other and listen to each other and don't have to agree. I think you are right about my dad. My dad and my mom brought us up to learn to disagree and listen. My brother, Ian, is a Republican. He worked in the Bush administration. And my brother, Mark, is a Democrat. He's the ambassador to Poland. And I am the person who talks to both sides. And our family dinners were all about what can we disagree on? Like, I went to the Madeira school. This school, my parents put me in because I was doing really badly in the school that they sent me to, which was a public school. And I was like wearing blue eyeshadow, and I had a Jordache jeans and comb in my back pocket, and I was acting out, and they were like, whoa, this is unserious.
Well, we're sending you to see Yasser Arafat.
So first you're going to go see Yasser Arafat, and then you're going to an all-girls school. And the woman who interviewed me was the headmistress at the time of the school, and they ended up getting tried and convicted of murdering her boyfriend. And one of our most heated family discussions was about crime of passion. And like, that's the kind of stuff we talked about at the family dinner table. My point is, my father and mother loved to sort of drop the bombs in the middle of the table and have us go at it. And let me tell you, there was a lot of debate about this. And it didn't mean you held on to exactly what your view was at that table, but the freedom to have the debate and the requirement that it is civil was the key. And so my dad and mom would have often many ambassadors, senators, world leaders. We had Deng Xiaoping, the leader of China, to dinner at our house during the normalizations of relations with China. My father said, let's not do a state dinner at the White House. Let's do it at our farmhouse in McLean. And let me tell you something. There were so many disasters that night because we were all stressed out, but it went really well, except for the part where I spilled caviar on him and where we didn't close the flue of the fireplace and the house got smoke. Like, we were all so nervous, but it was an incredibly memorable, historic experience. And it was the greatest example, actually, I guess, of like what it means to talk.
It's interesting because so much of the criticism is kind of swirls around the idea of normalizing Trump. And I just want to shake everybody and go, no, he's normalized. That ship sailed long ago.
Oh, thank you for saying that, Sam, because I've been talking about that throughout the campaign, what normalization looks like. And when Donald Trump, I tried so hard to tell people, when he says this again and again and again, and at first it's shocking and then it's funny and these rallies, people are laughing. That's normalization.
Yes.
But you can interview a world leader you can interview Vladimir Putin as a journalist and not normalize him. You can learn. And you can also take a lot of what he says and put it within the context of what we know about him. So that's why your brain has to operate on enough. Many things can be true at one time. And as journalists, I think we have to be open to conversation and we have to be open to learning and we have to be open to talking face to face and talking about each other. And quite frankly, coming after me and Joe about doing this is exactly what someone with nefarious intentions would want. So congratulations, you're playing right into it.
Well, may I ask one favor in the future? And that is, can you please sneak Joanna Coles in a duffel bag?
I knew you were going to have that.
Because I just can't handle how much she wants to go there and just take a couple of quick pics.
Yeah. I can try and make it happen.
Okay, I'm relying on you to make it happen. All right.
Okay.
And also now we understand. I'm thinking that after growing up in that household, Morning Joe must seem like child's play to you.
I'm made for it. I was like, this show, when the show started, I'm like, I literally feel like I'm at my family dinner table. We love each other. We disagree,
But no one is made to get up as early as you must get up to start the show. Please, I'm obsessed by people's morning routines. What time do you get up and how do you manage to look like you're always, fresh and cheerful to be there?
Well, it hurts, but what does help, honestly, is on the air and off the air. We all really love each other. Our producers, Alex, Dan, Mike, TJ, our director, our entire staff, we love each other, but it's a family. And so it doesn't feel like I'm walking into work. It feels very blended into my life. And I just can't say enough for the people who work for us, who work way worse hours than me.
What time do you get up?
Like 4. I sometimes try and push it and, really, really push it and sleep till 5, but that's a mess.
Can we talk for a sec about your organization, Know Your Value, which sheds light on women's success over 50. Does the work feel, like a little
I wouldn't know
different?
anything about that over 50.
Joanna.
Why are you projecting into the future, Mika? This is years off.
Exactly. How dare I be so presumptuous?
We just finished college. Does the work feel different now after America once again was given an incredibly accomplished and competent woman over 50 and said, no, thank you, I'll pass?
I've heard from women from all walks of life that it's helped them get a raise, literally all walks of life. But now it's about getting the things that you need, being able to communicate your value effectively and knowing what it is. And then the 50 over 50 lists, the aspect of that has unbelievably energized the younger portion of Know Your Value, because for the community, the 50 over 50 lists, which we have a US list and a global list, and we honor 200 women in 4 categories, US and 200 more globally, women who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even over 100, who are reaching their highest heights, making their most money, having their greatest impact, finding happiness, starting families well over the age of 50. And what I found when I started the first list is I wasn't shedding light on a few women to be kind of nice and condescending in its own way. No, I was uncovering a groundswell, an earthquake. There are so many women. Our first US list had over 10,000 nominations.
Wow.
And for the younger women, the message of 50 over 50 and all of these women is that you have a different outlook than Joanna and I had. You look at life after 50 and work after 50, and you see something. You see a long runway. You see what you're going to be able to do with your life, and you're going to see all the strange turns and pivots and failures and divorces and things that might happen, and they're not going to be the end. They're going to be a new beginning, and you have a long runway. When I won't speak for Joanna, but when I was 20, and a lot of women on these lists who I've asked this question to because I interview many of them, they never saw anything over 50. When they were younger, 20, 30, when they looked at life and work after 50, they saw white space. They saw maybe darkness. They never saw anything.
The Golden Girls were 52.
That's right. That's right. But my point is, we've changed the outlook for younger women by revealing the success of women well after 50. We have no what's left, right?
Oh, none.
Over 50, none.
Gone.
And so think how much better we are at what we do, because having what's.
I'll say it. All the fucks are gone. All the fucks are gone.
Got none left.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is something that you universally hear from women over the age of 50. They're like, I just don't care.
Oh, amen.
So let me just ask you something. Women find it harder to ask for things. That's part of your book, and it comes, or part of your movement, and it comes out of your own personal story. If you're telling younger women, what are the 1 or 2 things that you would say to women to help them negotiate better?
First of all, you got to take all emotion out of it. You've got to practice communicating effectively, and you've got to practice the actual techniques like eye contact, like practice talking in front of a group. If you don't have a group to talk in front of, invite a whole bunch of friends over, stand on a chair and make a toast, and realize how hard that is with everybody looking at you. Have them give you feedback. Practice on your phone. I actually, in one of my first Know Your Value events back in Hartford 12 years ago, I had the Know Your Value, Grow Your Value bonus competition, and I had people send in videos with 1-minute pitches of why they have value and why they deserve $10,000. And I said, remind yourself how many times you deleted that before you sent it in. It's hard. You got to put it into words. You got to consolidate it, and you got to own it. Every part of it, including this part, presentation. And the competition was amazing. A woman who was fired from Wall Street won. She was incredible. And when she was hugging me, it was the end of the day, she had a tube coming out of her arm. And I was like, are you okay? And she goes, oh my God, Mika, I had heart surgery 2 days ago. My doctor told me not to come, but I was practicing on the stretcher. I had to be here. I have a wheelchair backstage. And I was like, wow, this was my very first event in Hartford in a Marriott Marquis ballroom. And I was like, this is like incredible what we're able to do here. And before it was over, you think that's it? Before it was over, everyone's clapping, and this woman grabs my dress and starts pulling on it. And the runner-up was a single mom who worked in an office and wanted to go back to college, to be the first person in her family to go to college, but she had a child. She wanted to go to night school. She named the college Bay Path College. She was really good, Jennifer Hotchkiss. A woman pulled on my dress and grabbed the microphone. I gave it to her, and she goes, I just want to say something. She goes, I'm the CMO of Bay Path College, Jennifer Hotchkiss, runner-up. Come see me on Monday. You were fabulous, and we're going to give you a full ride.
Wow.
And not only did she go and finish in 2 years, she was her graduation speaker. Her life has been changed forever, which made me realize, like, the message of know your value is not just knowing the number and not just communicating it effectively and practicing, but quite frankly, putting yourself out there.
Right.
You've got to put yourself out there.
How do people listening find out more about Know Your Value, Grow Your Value?
I've got the website, knowyourvalue.com. I've got socials. And so, Know Your Value on Instagram. We're building a community. We're doing events. There's the 30/50 Summit. There's our event in New York. And I'm going to be doing some more local events around the country in hotel ballrooms because it is my favorite thing in the world to do. I love to get in the room with like 500 women and watch the light bulb go off in their heads because it's actually easy stuff. It's tangible. It's not just for the special few who make it. It's for everyone.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Sam and I, when we're over 50, we're going to
one day.
I'm gonna recommend Sam. Yeah, for when she's over
on the
50,
list. Nominate each other. Wait,
yes,
look who just came in here.
Her.
Wait. Come here. Say hi to Joanna and Sam.
I'm going to nominate both of you.
Oh, they're not 50 yet.
I know you're not 50,
when we're
but
50.
in 11 years, I'm going to nominate you all when you turn 50.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think we had a good podcast. We're done now.
Oh, are we
I
not
can go home with
recording?
you. No, we're not. Well, they are recording. Everything's
They're
recorded.
not recording. Okay, so let's tell them the real shit
No!
right now.
Yeah.
Can you please tell us? Can you please tell us what went down at Mar-a-Lago?
Got to take my
Bye.
earpieces off.
Thank you, Mika.